You've entered Tending the In-Between, a space for those who remember there's more than one layer to reality. I'm Connie Anderson, voice, frequency, and mirror. Here we walk the edges of the seen and unseen, decoding the signals that pulse beneath form. Each transmission is an invitation to remember, to feel what the mind forgot, and to stand inside truth without apology. Breathe. Listen. This is where remembrance begins. I didn't choose this life. I didn't choose to notice what I noticed. I didn't choose to feel when something was wrong long before anyone else did. I didn't choose to carry awareness in my body that refused to let me look away. It's just how I've been. For most of my adult life, I've had this quiet sense that something was coming. Not as a prediction, not as a vision, as a weight, as a gravity, as a knowing that I was going to be positioned inside something that would expose things people didn't want exposed, that it would matter, and that it would cost me. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I only knew I wouldn't be able to opt out. Around 2015 and 2016, and then again in 2020, that feeling in my body woke up. Things surfaced that people rushed to call conspiracy. I didn't rush. I listened. Not to headlines, but to patterns, to tone, to behavior, to what didn't make sense. I felt the familiar sickness underneath it, power protecting itself, money closing ranks, institutions lying to survive, the old story in a new costume. I didn't want any of it to be true. I'm not drawn to darkness. I don't enjoy collapse. But I couldn't pretend it wasn't possible just because it made people uncomfortable. And that was enough to change how people saw me. Slowly, quietly, relationships shifted. Conversations became careful. People stopped asking what I thought. Some people pulled back. Others made jokes. Others just went silent. I was no longer easy. For years, people like me were ridiculed, dismissed, minimized. Families rolled their eyes. Friends changed the subject. It was easier for them to believe we were foolish than to admit the world wasn't as safe as they hoped. Then my son called. He was upset. Not angry, upset. His friends had told him I'd gone off the deep end. People were talking. He was embarrassed. He was afraid of being isolated because of me. I could hear how torn he was between loving me and wanting his life to be easier. That call broke my heart. And it made me angry, not at him, at how many people could not see what I could see, at how distorted everything had become, at how truth was being treated like insanity and denial like intelligence. But underneath that anger was something deeper. I knew I could not unsee what I knew. Because what I was seeing was not just about the present, it was about the future, about his future, about the world he would grow up in, about the systems his children would inherit, about the moral architecture of coming generations. I understood in my body that this was bigger than my comfort, bigger than my reputation, bigger than whether people approved of me. This was about refusing to participate in a lie that would shape lives. So no, I wasn't just trying to protect him from embarrassment. I was choosing long vision over short relief, conscience over convenience, truth over temporary peace. I was choosing to stay awake for his sake, even when he couldn't understand it yet. I carried that quietly. I didn't perform it. I didn't turn it into a story. I didn't make it content. I held it, like so many mothers do, in silence. I have never felt superior for seeing early. Mostly, I've felt confused. Why could I stay present when others shut down? Why could I sit with things that people I loved couldn't even look at? I still don't fully understand it. What I've learned is that awakening is not about intelligence. It's about capacity, about how much reality your nervous system can hold without collapsing. Some people protect themselves by not seeing. They minimize, they mock, they cling to consensus. Not because they are bad, but because they are human. I don't judge them, but I couldn't join them. Once I saw, I was responsible. Once I knew, I couldn't unknow. And being awake is expensive. It costs you simplicity. It costs you ease. It costs you belonging. It costs you illusions. You live without anesthesia. You feel everything. You carry knowledge that has nowhere to go. There was never another path for me. If I had tried to fit in, if I had tried to stay quiet, if I had tried to be acceptable, it would have killed me. Not dramatically, slowly, in my body, in my spirit, in my capacity to feel alive. I would have survived, but I would not have been myself. So I kept walking, not because I'm brave, because I had no other way to live with myself. I have spent my life trying to be a good person, trying to be honest, trying to act with integrity even when it hurt, and that has cost me more than most people will ever know. But it has also given me the one thing I cannot live without: self-respect. The ability to live inside my own skin. The ability to look at myself without flinching. The ability to know I did not abandon what I knew. Now, years later, something is shifting. We still don't have the complete picture. There are still sealed records, still missing pieces, still unanswered questions. But light is breaking through. Information is being released. Patterns are being named. Connections are being traced. What was once whispered is now documented, and people are waking up. Not all at once, not easily. Awakening is disorienting. It destabilizes identity. It shatters old certainties. It forces people to grieve the world they thought they lived in. Many are struggling right now. They're angry, confused, exhausted, overwhelmed. They're realizing that things were not what they were told, that trust was misplaced, that innocence was manipulated, and that hurts. I recognize that pain. I lived it early, for years, in isolation. Now it's becoming collective. The tunnel is not fully behind us, but there is light. Not the light of everything is fixed, the light of we are no longer blind, the light of we are no longer alone in seeing, the light of truth is finding its way back into the body of humanity. This is what all of it was for. The years of being early, the years of being doubted, the years of standing alone, the years of paying the price. Not to be vindicated, to be prepared, to know how to hold people as they wake up, to know how to stay human in revelation, to know how to walk forward without becoming bitter. I didn't choose this path. It chose me, and I stayed. You've been listening to Tending the In-Between. If this message resonated, You'll find more transmissions, writings, and Earth Pulse updates at tendingtheinbetween.substack.com. Subscribe, listen, and walk with us as we remember what's real. Thank you for being here, for tending the space between illusion and truth.